Hey guys, welcome back to SureFire Live. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited to do this every week. I think the first couple weeks I was a little nervous to do it. Now I'm excited to do it. We're having such great response. One of the keys to this show is that it's a back and forth. It's a live show. So please, we watch the chat. We watch the comments coming in. We want to have a conversation on Tuesday nights about everything chimney and business and life. And, I want to applaud you guys for running a business in this climate. It's tough. It's super tough. And, every week I watch some things on Facebook and we chap on each other and we beat each other. We don't need to do that. You know what? We need to cheer on each other. This is a tough thing. And everybody runs business a little bit differently. And everybody does things a little bit differently, but we need to help each other. And I hope this show helps you. We're going to try to bring on guests every week that know something interesting about the chimney business or leadership or business in general, that this show hopefully becomes a resource for you. So I wanted to just talk about a couple things coming up. Live this next week is the release of the SureFire retrofit unit that John Meredith and Chris Pryor have been working on for a very long time, and they got it past UL listings, and it's ready for prime time. So we are going to do a SureFire virtual training and an in-person training at my facility in Nashville. I think the in-person is sold out, but the live virtual is not sold out. You can contact Heat Shield for the information on how to get or you can also, I think, email us, Brianna, or BRIED at surefire.online if you need a link for the course. I may be wrong. I'm going to bring Jim Brewer on here. He's the technical wizard on that. So anyway, that's going to be super exciting about what's coming in. It's also going to be a course on SureFire down the road that we'll release it so you can see it. Got a couple early people coming in. We got Kyle from Alpine Chimney. He was here last week. Welcome, Kyle. We got Nick coming in, and he's with Kyle as a tech. So thank you guys for joining us early. Again, we're going to be a back and forth on questions and everything. So first, I want to talk about what we're going to release on SureFire, and I'm going to bring Jim Brewer on to talk about this. Hey, welcome, Jim.
Hey, good evening, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here, and hope everybody's having a great week out there. And what do we call it? Radio land, video land,
Facebook land, social media land.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We every month, we release new courses on SureFire, and I wanted to talk about the release coming up for April. And you've been, a lot of these are things you've worked on. So would you mind talking about what you've done with the new tech modules and the new module that you're releasing?
Yeah, so we've had the new tech modules. New tech module 1 through 5 have kind of been a staple of SureFire for a long time. And they're designed to get your new technicians up to speed. It starts with the very basics, like how to wear your respirator, how to set up equipment in the home, and then it gets into kind of the physics or the anatomy of chimneys and fireplaces. And then we get into inspections and cleaning methods and just a whole gamut of stuff that's in those first 5 modules. Well,
right.
One of the things that was included in there was sections from the CSIA certification manual. Okay.
Right.
But not too terribly long ago, CSIA launched a new certification manual. So new tech modules 1 through 5 have been edited so that they now include the current certification program for CSIA. And in fact, by the time you go through all of the modules, now there's 6 modules. I'm going to tell you about the 6th one here in just a second. But by the time a technician goes through all 6 modules, he's also automatically qualified to take the CSIA exam, the Certified Chimney Sweep exam, because within those new tech modules, he's also completed the online certification review.
Well, I'm going to correct something real quick. He or she. We got a lot of female sweeps coming on, don't they?
Yeah, good point, Mark. And female sweeps are awesome. When I had my business, we had a few of them, and customers always loved them. So yeah, I certainly don't mean to be one way there at all. So let me tell you about the new tech module 6 is kind of a wrap up, if you will. And it gets the candidate, the technician, ready for the certification exam. A couple of things that we focus on in there real heavy is preparation for the exam, and specifically the IRC open book exam. People think it's open book, so it's a walk in the park. That's not really true. If you're not familiar with the IRC and know how to navigate it and get around, you might not be successful with the exam. So I've got a course on there.
I've had technicians that were pretty good at the computer and they do the PDF version, but there's sometimes you don't have a good connection. You might not have a computer available in the field. You may not have it. You need to know how to navigate that book. I mean, that's basically what you're helping them with, because there's a lot in that IRC book.
Yeah, that IRC book is, I think it's 900 pages. It's ridiculous. But so we've got a whole course that prepares you to take that exam with a specific module on taking it using the computer version and also the printed version. So whichever way you plan to do it, we've got you covered there. And then finally, in the new tech module 6 is we introduce them to level 2 inspections. Prior to that, we were doing level 1, but now you got a guy, he's ready for certification. He needs to be introduced to level 2. So, by the time a fella completes, or a woman completes all 6 modules, they should have a pretty good understanding of chimneys and fireplaces and heating appliances and venting systems and how to do inspections, both level 1, level 2. They understand the IRC. They're ready to take their CSIA certification exam. But most importantly, they've had a guided pathway to get them ready to go out and make money for you. Bottom line, that's why we want to train new people. And I think the best thing about the new tech modules is it's a progressive pathway. You introduce a new guy and it's much better than just ride around with Fred for a while and someday we'll let you go out on your own. You're giving them a guided path to success. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Thank you for all that work on that. I'm going to leave you on here because I want you to talk and welcome Cody from Master Services. I know a guy that's going to be on here that you probably know here in a few minutes. And I'm excited to have Mr. Chad Murray jump on here next. He's our next guest up. But real quickly, before we bring Chad on, I want to talk about the other course releases. We had a business symposium in Nashville, and we had some really great classes, and now we're releasing them on SureFire. So if you got a subscription, these just pop up for you. First of all, we're going to talk about key performance metrics with Kent Wesley. We are going to talk about basically all the numbers you need to know when you are running a business, and the things that he looks at to make sure you're on track. Your direct labor costs, your profitability, your materials costs, your insurances, and all the costs. What are we watching every week? What are we watching to make sure we're on track? Then we also have Chuck Roydhouse has a class. You don't have to be big to make money. And Chuck runs a couple truck operation, but very, very profitably. And if you know Chuck, he's a stickler for the details, and he shows you the details on how he runs a very profitable small business. But the one I wanted to keep you on for, Jim, was the one that Tommy Nelms delivered. And we were all really surprised at when I read the name of the course versus when I sat in the class. This class changed me. And the name of the course, I want you to talk about what you thought about too, but the name of the course is Your Business Perspective and How It Affects Your Bottom Line by Tommy Nelms. Talk about that class. You were sitting in there with me, and we were beside ourselves, I think.
Yeah, I was totally blown away by that course. I didn't know what to expect when Tommy got up there, but Tommy spent an hour talking about why what we do in people's homes matters. It matters to the lives of our customers. And I thought it was a very, very powerful course. And the comment that I made to Tommy as soon as the course was over, because it was done at the business symposium, and pretty much everybody there was a business owner. But I grabbed Tommy and I said, Tommy, that course you just delivered, every technician in the chimney business needs to see that course or hear that course. It was powerful.
He came from the aspect of a firefighter, and he came from the aspect of what it's like to kind of get tunnel vision in a situation and how you have to look at things differently than you would think so that you don't cost a lie, so you don't mess up. So he just had, and like you said, Jim, I was thinking of it whenever we listen to it, like every single technician needs to listen to this, because Tommy he delivered it in a really passionate way, in a really down to earth way, but a firsthand experience that I thought, man, I was almost in tears listening to it. And so was he delivering it. And we all just went, wow, we just witnessed a great course from him. So I can't recommend it more. And as Jim said, your whole company needs to listen to it.
Yeah, I would recommend, if you have a couple of team members, if you have a way to get everybody together, project it up on a TV, buy some donuts, put on a pot of coffee, and sit there for an hour and watch it, and then talk to your team about it. I think it'd be kind of a great, exercise to do together with your whole team.
Well, thank you, Jim. I'm going to bring Chad up. Thanks for being on the show, and thanks for giving us that.
Always a pleasure.
So coming up is a person I've recently met. He's been in the business a very long time, but he kind of stayed, under the radar, to kind of put it clearly. And then now he's kind of come out, and I've gotten to know him, and we became fast friends. And I thought, when I met him right off the bat, we're kind of reading from the same sheet of music, and we're out there just trying to do good things. So I'm going to bring up Mr. Chad Murray. Hey, Chad, welcome.
Hey, Mark.
So
hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on SureFire Live tonight. Chad, I know you said, hey, I don't want to talk a lot about myself, but just give us a quick view of who you are, what you've done, and what you're doing right now.
Well, I mean, kind of like my elevator pitch here, I married my high school sweetheart, was in the Marine Corps, Army National Guard, switched to the Marine Corps, got out, found the chimney industry, got sick, went bankrupt, started another chimney company right away, and grew it to, in season around 60 employees, off season around 40. And so we really just concentrate on the customer experience and conversation and value. We switched to that model probably about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And everything is about the customer experience with us. And we're still, now listening and everything, it has to do with Rush, talking to him and becoming more friends with him, learning how the conversation grew our business. And it's just awesome. But to tell you a little bit about Master Services, we're the largest, simplest company you'll ever meet. I mean, we just are. We're just now getting into fireplace stuff. I mean, Jim Brewer's helping us, who was just on. He's helping us now in the fireplace side of it with the direct fit. And we're just getting to the fact of just outside of like wood burning fireplaces. I mean, so we built a pretty big business off of being simple. And so it's not been easy, but it is easy to manage when you do it right.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. So we talked about this topic. It was actually on Facebook recently, and I think part of my SureFire Live might be one of the headlines from the week of Facebook. And there's been a topic going around about free estimates versus paid inspections. And to be fair, I think you and I are both on the same side of this, but there's not a wrong side. And I am not here to say you must do free inspections or free estimates, I should say, or you must get paid every time you go out, because there's a good and a bad to each of that. So you had this, your topic was, can free earn you more money? So explain how you guys do it.
Well, there might be a little bit of a generational or maybe even a geographic thing to this. Since I've kind of watched who's saying what and where they're at. And I don't know if the Mason-Dixie line has something to do with it, or if it just has to be people that have been in the business 20 years or longer, but we've noticed, because we're number hounds at our business. So we track it, and we've tried. And in the summertime, when we get to spring, when we really get out of the winter season, when it's all about water leaks and stuff like that, we've tried to spin a water leak pitch to people that, it's going to be a paid scenario. And our numbers just tanked. And we tried. I mean, we would try and we would try. And the culture is in our markets, Houston, Dallas, and Oklahoma City, there's too many people out there doing it free that they make 3 phone calls. They're not going to pay, $150 or $200 for an inspection. And so when you do this, I mean, for our own market sets that a little bit. And we try to be a trendsetter, but let's just face it. When they can call 4 people for free, it's really hard to tell them the value of it when the 3 or 4 other competitors aren't doing it. So that's kind of where it comes from us.
I feel the same. For me, I want to get a guy in the door. I don't want there to be a barrier of $100 to $200 to be the barrier, especially for a chimney leak or a big chimney cap or a new fireplace installation. To me, it can be a barrier. And I have to take it from my own experience. If I called, 3 or 4 companies, and let's just say they are chimney companies, I said, hey, I need an estimate on a new fireplace or something done in my fireplace, and 2 guys said they'd come give me a free estimate and 2 guys wanted to charge me money, I'm going to call the 2 free guys first. And if they deliver it in a good way and they seem, reasonable and sharp and a good customer service on my side, I'm probably going to hire them. And I was working with Larry Wingate not too long ago, and he's like, man, he had a similar situation where somebody wanted to charge him, I think it was for landscaping or drywall. I can't remember what it was. He's like, I'm not going to pay you to come out here and give me an estimate. Now, that being said, the guys doing it that are making it work and have the numbers to show that it works for them, great. But to me, I want to get through more doors. Is that what you guys do, or what's your philosophy on that once you get a guy there?
It's all about the door. It's all about getting there. And if I can get to 7, 10, 15 more clients in a week, we make more money, whether we paid or not. It's just that simple. I mean, when you and the thing about it, the money will come off, if you do it. It's just, to me, it's car salesmanship to say that. And I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's just, if you showed up to more appointments and showed the value of what you did, and if you want to turn it into a level 2 inspection and charge them while you're there because there's a reason for it, then go ahead. We don't do that. We show up to a free water leak, right now we're about to get into water leak season. We don't do any less than 30 chimney custom caps a week, ever.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing.
Exactly. So, why don't the people try to get there to make the sale And then, forget about the 150 because they look at maybe this 5,000 they're missing out. Okay, well, I just sold a bad week for us is 30. That's a bad week. 30 custom caps a week. You do the math. Who's making more money? I mean, on that.
So there is that side of it. A lot of people say, hey, I do, it's a paid inspection, but I'll give you the money back if you book the work with us. And to me, it's a little bit of a limiting factor for your business. And it does for sure probably make your sales percentage go up. It does for sure make the tire kickers not call you for sure. And so, but you also won't see, like you wouldn't see me as a customer. And I'm a good customer. Once I see you and like you, I'm going to buy. I'm not a tire kicker at all. I'm the guy that, but if you put any barriers in front, you might not see me. But the other thing is, I'm going to give you the money back toward the work if you book it. And to me, I think of that, as like if you go to get your teeth cleaned and they find a cavity, they don't say, you know what, if you get your cavity or root canal done, we'll give you the cleaning, the x-ray back. Or you go to get your car tuned up and they find another issue and they say, you know what, we'll give you your tune-up charge back. So, it's a give and take kind of thing. The people who charge first and give back, and for us, we don't charge first, but we don't give back either. I think those are kind of the two philosophies that are out there.
Well, I think that to clarify a little bit, the way we do it is free is for certain things. If they call for a functionality situation where it's a safety thing or part of the chimney, we're all about the scripting about we're coming out and charging you. But the way we identify it, if you know your problem and you're looking for the one item or maybe two, like whatever, like we know we need a chimney cap and we know there might be a missing brick up there or a loose, mortar crown or whatever. Well, okay, we'll be glad to come out tomorrow and look at it, or next week or whatever we can get out there. No charge, and we show up, and then nothing changes when we show up to the door. We do the exact same thing, except for we'll say, and we kind of call it the plan. We show up and we do exactly what we tell them what we're going to do, and it just goes right on there. And then if it turns into, which it always does. We don't charge in the summertime. We just will not charge them for an inspection if we showed up for a freebie. I know that's another controversial thing to say. We just scope it, get it done, do it, and then get the full money.
For us too, though, let's just say it is a water leak. We are going to recommend a full inspection, a paid inspection as part of the solution. And once we see, hey, you've got these problems. If you've got water issues on the outside, there's a great chance you got water issues on the inside. We need to get our camera in there. We need to do a full inspection. And before we do any major repairs, especially on the inside with a liner or a resurfacing or whatever, you got to have a level 2 done. So I don't want to confuse that we give free functionality and, hey, is my system okay to use? And we did that for free. No. Known issues, chimney leaks, new system. I want a new fireplace on this blank wall. I want to reface my fireplace. And like you said, so I think we're on the same page. And again, there's no right or wrong. Whatever works for your company, and you can prove that, hey, like you did, you went through and said, hey, we tried the paid inspections or the paid estimates and we didn't have as many calls. I want to get, and one of the guys on Facebook showed his numbers going really up when he did it, when he switched. So again, it's all about how you run your business. And I want to cheer everyone on that's running a dang chimney business, because this is hard stuff, man. We don't need to beat each other up. We're out here fighting the same fires, and we don't need to be turning the shots on ourselves. So thank you for that. I'm gonna, before I go to the next topic, I want to throw out some quick comments. You've got on the thing I talked about before. Cody, your guy said, "Woohoo, get it, boss man." Tommy Nelm said, "Wow, I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. It's an honor to be part of the other instructors. Thank you for your kind words." And again, that was what we were talking about before. Darren Bebo says, "Tommy, you are a rock star. You guys are the best." And then Darren Nice says, "Chad is the boss of bosses, now sharing his secrets." Nice. And then Kyle says, "Good thing in New Jersey we don't give free estimates." That's again, you said it may be a regional thing, and no, I'm not running anybody down. So let's talk about, and there's a few more. Well, Cody, again, he says, you build value and brand recognition. Be able to explain to them why we are worth it and have the follow-up on the warranty side to prove it. Very good point. So I want to bring up another topic that you had written down, which was manage the numbers for a positive culture. What do you mean by that?
KPIs, know everybody. If they work for you, they have a number. And when you can help, I mean, everything we're really building out a personal profile for we're just working on this now. A personal profile for every single person and all their KPIs. We have our report that goes into all of it that we have, kind of company wide, and we do individual stuff, but it's just easy numbers. Like, well, for instance, when we were just talking about the free estimates and stuff, and we were talking about if you track how many calls you get and then how many estimates you do, whether you can make educated decisions, where I'm going with this for a positive culture, to figure out that if you do better with one or the other. But when it comes to your employees, when they know their numbers and everybody else's numbers, because we have 4 TVs up in our office and a link to everybody on their phones can go to see everybody's numbers. You can see which call center girl's rocking it right now. You can see, well, Cody's numbers. I can give you the link and show you his numbers, and show you what he's done last week, this week, and what he has scheduled next week. You can see with our technicians what numbers they've done. What if they've been late, if they've been on time, if they got a good review. All of it's on a rotating like menu board at our office, and we're not good about rewarding as much as we'd like, and we're actually working on that now. But everybody should have a number to them to help them have better numbers. Now, I'm not saying everyone lives by the numbers. I mean, you do have to have personality, and you have to help them be better. I mean, because let's face it, you're going to have good people that are just going to have a little bit better than average or average numbers. But if you can help them and they're aware of the clarity of their numbers, they might just care a little bit more, because maybe they don't want to be on the medium. They want to be a little higher.
I believe what you're talking about is what I talk about, which is scorekeeping, right? A lot of times, like for instance, when I used to pay hourly to people, they really didn't know if they were doing well or not. They were like, they just get paid, and then at the end of the week, we might cheer them on, but they don't really know how it affected. Did the job make money? If they work more efficiently, could they? What was the scorekeeping? And a friend of mine kind of said it's kind of like a lot of businesses run like they put a sheet in front of the bowling pins and they roll the ball, and they're like, man, that sounded like we did good. I think we did good, but there's a sheet blocking the pins, and you don't even know. And by what you're saying is by removing the sheet and by being really transparent on numbers, everybody can see the score. They know if you're winning or losing. It's like playing baseball. You hit a grand slam in the 9th inning and you think you won, but you were down by 10 runs. Like, right. You even know if we're winning. That's kind of what you're getting at, right?
Oh, completely. I mean, it does come down to it. It creates a team that there's side effects to when you start tracking numbers. We found out that some of our call center people now start to help each other more.
Really?
And we have a good. Oh yeah, and we actually have 3. We went through a little. We had one girl leave in the call center due to moving, and then we had a couple girls we just don't work for us for any reason now, and so they've all been replaced. And the funny thing was, with what we're going to be talking about in a little bit about scripting, we had the scripting down, and they gave them the scripts. Day 2, they were as good and maybe even better than our old girls, who always kind of questioned the script because they knew a lot more than we wanted them to know. Right. And I don't mean like that, but I mean they knew enough to go off script sometimes, other than do it. And when the girls stuck to the script, call times came down, and we track call times. That's how I bring it back to the numbers. All of a sudden, our tenured girls, we're talking girls that work here 5, 6, 7, 8 years, call times are 7 minutes, and the new girls are at 4.
Really?
It's that big. And we track that, and now the new girls are like, okay, now they have to up their game.
I can see that. We sometimes in the South, we get pretty friendly, and one of our call center people, Susan, they call her Nana because she gets talking and gets all in. How's your mom and them? And then it really just, gets personal with it, which I love that too. But you're right. There's a rhythm and a speed to it. And when they know what the average is and they're outside the average, that helps them understand, how to get better.
Exactly.
Let me move. Yeah, thank you. Then here's where you were talking about script your way to profits. You're big on scripting. That's one of the main things. You did a course for us for SureFire that's going to be coming out about scripting, and you said you want to script as much as possible. Why do you do that? And how long have you done that?
I have scripted out the anatomy of a sale. Not even talking call center yet. I've scripted out the anatomy of a sale 15 years ago, and then the call center we've done since day one. My wife and if you go, I don't know if I want a shameless plug here, but if you go to my podcast and listen to my wife on a couple weeks ago, she talks about we grew the business together. I mean, we started out of our house. She was the family, taking care of the family meals and the call center. I was back end and field and sales guy. And that was what I did. So I'd go to work all day and then spend all night on marketing and website. Because, I started in 96. Websites kind of came out about 99. And I did it myself. I didn't hire anybody.
Right.
So anything I would learn every day, I'd come home and I'd tell her and we'd script it out. And
so give me an example of scripting out everything. And then why does that make you be able to grow? Okay.
So when you're let's just move right. I'll go quickly from when you start a business to when you're a mature business. So at first, nobody knows what to say. So you got to make sure they're saying the right things. You don't want them to say the wrong thing. You don't want everybody saying, we're going to build you the safest fire and we're going to warranty that forever.
Right.
And believe me, I've had girls say similar things to that, and we listen to the calls, but whoa, I don't know where that came out of. That's not true. And so you're protecting yourself, but you're getting them to say the right things. And you're also building your sales process on the phone with everybody for a yes to connect to say, we're giving them enough information as quick as possible to make the appointment. Now, we don't have a bunch of chatting nanas for us, but they do. We do try to get them to talk a little bit, right, to the people, and we added that to the script. But we're just trying to stay professional, a little bit personality, and get there. And then when it came to the anatomy of a sale, I scripted out everything all the way through the end of it. I mean, nothing like Alan Rush, but I did it to where it was successful for us and worked very, very well to show value from the beginning. And we would make sure that they have all of the bits and pieces of the cap, the crown coat, the flash seal, everything is explained to them the way I scripted it out. And to even prove it to them, and the guys have to do it, I made a video and then I slapped it on the item list so that whatever I say, they have said the same thing. So they would never have anyone get caught by it, but they could. If they said something different, the video says something else, they could call and check us on it, And so,
right.
But everybody, so it then turns out to be where when you're advertising your web page, your call center, and now you're what we call educators as our sales guys, when everybody's saying the same thing, it just builds this culture and people buy into it and they purchase. And right. We're all here for value, but we're also here to make money. And when you're hearing the same lingo all the way through the process, the people are on board. I mean, let's face it. How many times have we, and maybe we have been there. I've never been this guy because I was fortunate to have my wife. But, you know, Sweep answers the phone while he's on a roof. Sweep answers the phone while he's driving. You know, I mean, it just, and that's a totally different subject of talking about. Make sure you have someone in the call center. But if you're just answering the phone, hey, this is ABC Chimney, how can I help you? And they say, you know, well, I need my chimney swept. Okay, it's $155. I can be there next Wednesday. Well, your call ratio is going to go way down. So when you give the value up front and talk about it, of kind of exactly what we're going to do in a dumbed down way, they buy. I mean, our call ratio is for closing calls is pretty high.
Yeah, that's some great points. When we just started developing scripting, it was actually one of the girls in my office she just started writing down. We had some basic scripts, but then I would say something, or she'd go, okay, say that again, type it down. And then she built a book. Basically, every time we had a price change or a new brochure, she built an office manual of how we did everything. And whenever we bring somebody else in to train, she had all the answers right there in the book, and clearly can do that online. But what we did notice too is there was nobody in the business or in the office that held all the keys to the castle. And if we lost somebody, then the whole thing all went crashing down. The scripting, and like you just did it, you plugged a couple people in, and magically in day 2, they could answer your phones and sound very intelligent, do a great job, even probably quicker than your past ones. And that's really where scripting gets profitable.
Well, we have an app called Zingtree. It's in the course, and I mean, we can show it if you like, or I mean, it's quick. I mean,
you want to show it?
Yeah, let's do it.
You have a way to show your screen?
Yeah.
You see the share button at the bottom?
Share button, share screen. Okay, share screen. They just hit the share show. Okay, what do you see? Do you see?
You see I can't see. Oh, here it is. I get your screen. Now this can be weird. I'm going to try this.
Does everybody see scripts? I don't know. I don't know which. It doesn't show me which screen's being shown. Mark?
I'm sorry. It's kind of funny to talk on this. I can see you, and I've got that. Yep.
So we see the script. So this is so everybody can see this. Did we get any confirmation on the chats?
Yeah, they can see you and they can see your screen.
Okay, great. Be better if they could just see the screen. All right. So we use Zingtree, you know, and then this is kind of what the back end looks like and how you build out it's like building a little easy web page. And then you go in there and get in here, the edit part. And then you build out this little, you know, web page, and then you have your little modules of what buttons they press to take them to another page for the answer, right?
Right.
So here's the script in place. So now we have a new call. We had to change this because we have a new dialer that when they call in, it says, are you calling about a chimney, wildlife, dryer vent, or air duct cleaning? And you have to press a button, or if you're an existing client. So we still do this. It's a great day here at Master Service, and I give them leeway of what they want to say. And this is Chad. How may I help you? And then they'll say, because they hit the chimney button, we already know. They'll say, well, I'm calling about a chimney. So you click on chimney, and then we right over there we verify, or we validate. Excellent. We've been doing chimney work since 1998. Do you burn wood? No. Do you burn wood? Yes or no? No. Or do you burn gas? And you go through all these questions, and they click something. Then here's the answer. If they say yes, click inspection. Boom. And they go, okay, we've always performed a video camera inspection to determine, and you just go through the whole thing, which this seems so long. This right here is taking our full timing of how to do a call, a new person, from 8 minutes down to 4 to total. And then you hit yes.
Wow.
And it says, okay, go here to schedule. And then it takes them over to our scheduling program and does it. If they have a question, oh, you have a question? Okay. How do you clean a chimney? Boom. It tells you how to clean a chimney. Yeah. Yes. More questions? Okay. Do you have insurance? What about chimney caps? Excellent. We do chimney caps. Oh, you want more cap information? Like, see how they keep clicking and going? See how fast they do this? Questions about inspections and sweeps. Okay. More, how long you've been in business.
Right.
And then they go around and say exactly how long we've been in business and blah, blah, blah. And so I will tell you, it's a monster to build, but once built, I mean, we're going to actually build a Zing tree here for our sales guys too, that they can play around at home and practice and stuff like that. And so I'm stopping.
I love that.
And so it's just simple. It's not that expensive. I believe it is. I think for your total thing, I think it's like 150. It might only be 75. I'm sorry, I don't recall. But I mean, to get a girl trained like this fast, literally 2 days, to be able to make appointments. I mean, let's face it, in the wintertime, what are they calling about? I need a chimney inspection or cleaning. And they're just reading the same 3 pages almost all the way through.
Yep. Every time. Dude, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Before we move to the next topic, I'm going to read a few of the topics, and sometimes we're a little ahead of them. Jeremy Biswell says, and he's talking about, when we're talking about free inspection, he brings up a good point. He says, guys, I think the key is having a big enough company that can support an estimator. Most smaller companies are already booked out very far, so adding the free estimate service is a bad idea. I agree. If you set up a company with estimators, you have to have enough repair crews to be able to do the work in a shorter time frame as well. Those same customers don't want to wait a couple of months for the repairs. So the answer is free estimates probably won't work well for companies less than 25 employees. And I wrote down there, great point. And then Jeremy said, of course, because I'm a genius. But but I always gave free estimates. But he is super right about it is a bigger company kind of tactic, I think. And then if I went back to being a one-person operation or a smaller operation, I think I would charge for estimates again, because my time is so limited. I don't want to try to get through every door, and I really want to get through more people who already know me, they want me. But as a bigger company, I want to get through more doors. I mean, it seems like maybe that is a difference. Did you always do free estimates?
I did, but here's the thing. I mean, I don't disagree with anybody saying charge for everything. Not at all. I mean, what my point is make a decision correctly through your numbers. So try both. Don't just get pig-headed and say, I'm only doing it this way because my time is this valuable. Well, right. maybe let's face it. What did COVID teach us last year? I mean, some people are doing some things differently now than they were just 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what I'm saying is try it. If you are a small enough business and you're booked out, well, why would you need it? Duh. I agree. You don't need it. We're talking about when you're building your business to maybe try some things that at the end of the month, you make more money. That's where I come at. Find out your numbers so that you make an educated decision. It's like a lot of times when I'm coaching someone and they tell me they're going to bring someone on, and I go and they're like a new company for me, and I'll go, well, how much money did you make last week? I don't know. And it drives me crazy. They don't know. And that's, one of the reasons why I hired a business coach. But I'm like, you don't know. Well, then how do you know how much to pay somebody? And, and it's like, well, and then they think about me and they're like, well, that's how I've always done it. And it's like, that's why you're losing money. You need to know your numbers. And when you know your numbers, if you experiment with some different things, I'll bet you, some of the companies that are out there are passionate about saying they won't do free. I bet you took half of those companies are dead right, that they shouldn't do it. Their model is the way they work it, they're not going to make more money.
Yes.
And other half, and how do you know you're not that other half if you don't try? Right. Yeah. And that's my point. That's been my point on the group here the last week about it is, well, you don't know. Just this is what we do. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, and I'm not saying you are either. Right. I'm just saying if you don't have the numbers to prove it, you don't really know.
Perfect. Yeah, I totally agree. All right. So we've got, let's see here. This is good. And I think your guy, Cody, added to this. do you know exactly what your staff is saying to clients? And you hit on it early with lifetime warranty and everything's going to be safe. And I had a customer this week say, your guys are out of my house, and they said that I would never have to have my gas log serviced again once we install them. I'm like, I know we never said that, but that's what the customer is trying to tell me. Like they didn't want us to charge for annual inspection. So how do you get the message all the way through the troops? How do you do that? And I think that's part of another. In fact, it's our second set. This one too is the call center, even the same playbook as the field technicians. How do you do that?
Well, we used to have that battle where you an educator would get out to the field, right, and then the customer would say, "That's not what they said. That's not what they said at the call center." I mean, and I'm sure there's a lot of companies that may still have that. I can guarantee you 1,000% that there's no educator now that won't look straight in that customer's eyes and goes, well, how many clients, how many business owners did you call sweeps? And then maybe, because I know our company says this, and they'll go through what they say. They are confident that what they said. We can easily pull the call if we have to, which we very rarely do. And we just have a good rebuttal for that to say, well, how many companies did you call and get mixed up with it? Because our guys know, because of our scripting, that they didn't say anything else. Right. And when we pull the call, we never said what that customer said. To date, we have never been proven wrong.
Is that right?
Never. We've never been wrong.
So call recording is important. When we go back and listen to our calls, sometimes it's not that we're necessarily proven wrong, but I notice sometimes that we didn't hear the customer correctly. Like my office staff the other day, this person called and said, do you clean water heater vents and dryer vents? My office staff heard, do you service water heaters and clean dryer vents? So we gave the customer, and I was sitting there in the office and I heard him say this, and we gave the customer a water heater service because we have an HVAC division and a dryer vent cleaning. And I said, hold on, you misunderstood what he said. He said he wanted the vent clean for the dryer and the vent clean for the hot water, which is rare, but that's what he wanted. And we misunderstood that. And I'm sure scripting helps, but how often do you listen back and go, oh, I heard that wrong, or we heard that wrong?
I've listened. Okay, we have modified our script this year like 5 times back in the end of January. And I bet you I listened to 300 calls. And really? I didn't hear any of that then. I mean, really, here's what we did do with the scripting to kind of maybe this will answer this question or not. So when everyone is now, if you're going to get hot on scripting, this is what you need to know. It ain't easy. You got to make it conversational. You are a business owner, and I'm telling you right now, you are a robot when you write it down. I'm calling for a chimney sweep, and that, we do it for one way. You're just so robotic. You have to play it out with someone else and conversationalize it to where it sounds good. And so now that doesn't take away what I heard wrong, but the way we talk about it, it may fix that issue. But no, I haven't had that problem.
So we just have to be, you get customers that have a lot of questions, and sometimes you get in a rhythm of hearing things. And I don't think it's common for us at all, but I heard it the other day. Jillian Stewart says, do you sell this Zing Tree framework that you've built?
I wish I did. I wish I did, Jillian. No, you just go to zingtree.com.
Well, I think she's like wanting.
I'm not an affiliate either.
You built that framework out, and there's a lot of time and value in that. So yeah. So guys, again, we have time with Chad. So ask him any questions about building the business, how he runs it, anything like that. Tim Simpson says documentation is everything. Couldn't agree more. Ted Katita says, set a business model and work your numbers. It can work either way, no matter what size. Completely right. Cody says, I had to pull a call for a customer on Thursday, and he was freaked out, and I knew exactly what the CSR said to him. Yeah, that's good. And I know like Service Titan and some of the others actually add the call recording to the job, which is neat. And you can hear what was said to clarify it. And so many times our people are right, and the customer remembered one thing, or they weren't talking to you, they were talking to somebody else, and recording is killer. So then Jillian says she didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So, how did you?
One thing real quick, Mark. We just switched our call center phone service over to Call Solutions USA, which is a very similar thing to the Service Titan, and where we got the phones all set up. Where it's the reporting is stupid. It's awesome, but it also works with the guys on the field, so they can transfer to the guys on the field. The guys can call from their phone, just like they do at Service Titan, and call the customer, and it looks like they're calling from our business, not their cell phone.
Name of that again? I'm going to write that down.
Call Solutions USA.
So let me just ask you this real quick. We tried something like that was an app that looked like it came from us. And the problem with the app was my guys had to give access and approval to their microphone, all their pictures in their phone, like too much access from the app. And we canceled it. We brought it in a big sales. We thought this is going to be great because some of our technicians don't have local phone numbers or local area codes, and they're calling. And then all of a sudden they've got their personal phone number. We didn't want that. So we tried the solution, but the app had way too many, I don't know, Big Brother kind of stuff. So your thing, Call Solutions USA, explain how that works.
Well, we haven't set. We're in the middle of right now setting up. Like next week, the technicians. So I hope that I'm not in that scenario with them.
Sure.
But the call center has worked phenomenal, and so I don't know what it's going to take to set up the guys if they have that type of scenario. He didn't mention it to me, so I can't really speak to how that's going to be. I do know this: the guy that owns it is actually the guy. I mean, he's got NEC behind him. He used to work for a big company, branched off, did it. We've asked him to do a whole bunch of custom stuff for our reporting, and he's done it.
Nice.
He hasn't been able to do anything. So he's a small guy, so I'm not going to tell you you're not going to Verizon to get this done. But it is. We've had it now for 2 months, and I mean, when anything passes my mom, who works at the call center twice a week. If it was easy for her to pick up, I'm telling you, everyone will love it. And my mom loves it.
Nice.
So it worked out that easy. So, I mean,
Dad's mom approved.
It was. And I'll tell you, if it passes her, we're golden.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let me switch topics on you. And we hadn't really gone over this, but you're now into coaching. You now are a coach for other businesses, and you work with a lot of chimney guys, but you also work with all types of businesses. Talk about what's the main need that's these small businesses, and if we want to talk chimneys, we can, but what are some of the commonalities that you see that are issues with these companies?
Great question, Mark. I mean, and we did not script this, everybody. I did not know he was going to ask me this. No clue. Really, I think it's the dream of becoming an entrepreneur. And it's straight out of the E-Myth. Everyone's a technician when they start, right? And I'm an E-Myth. We get along. We're both E-Myth people. I mean, we're students of Mike Lee Gerber, in practice. And so when you take on a business that's just starting to scale or having so many pain points, they're trying to figure out, I didn't start this business to have this headache,
right.
or I'm trying to grow and it's not working. Or they're at these points that they get to, like we talked before, to the $1 million mark ish. And they're just they're almost ready to throw in the towel or they want to scale double, and they're like, I can't do that. I mean, it's killing me. And
you would never think the $1 million mark is a bad mark, but you've switched from one level of company to another when you start crossing that, and there's systems and all your little cracks of your business that were not a big deal before now are bigger. I mean, is that what you see when they cross that line?
Well, it is, and it comes down to this final thing. They can't pull themselves out to manage, and let's face it. Most people, even when you go to college, you don't learn to run a business. That's the last thing they teach you to do, is how to operate a business outside of being a technician. So what works for you is something, it's completely foreign to you. You hear and see other people doing it, but it's like, well, how do I do it?
Right.
How do I actually hold people accountable? How do I track my numbers? I don't have time for that. So the biggest hurdle really is to get people to pull and do what I call a 30,000 look down, the view. You got to own the business from another level of, you're not a technician anymore. You have to give up the track. You have to come off the road. And I have not had fortunately, I have had no problem getting everybody off the road quickly, and then watching them just smoke their business just because they're not working on it. There's no secret. I'm a great coach in my mind. But they listen, they do it, they see the value in what I'm saying, and they do it. I'm not in your business. They talk to me an hour and a half a week. And then they crush it. And next thing you know, their sales are doubling. They're hiring. I've got a guy in Idaho. This is such a funny story. He's a furniture guy. He repairs furniture. He's like a furniture medic, right? And a lot of moving companies are his main gig. They mess something up, they call him, he comes and fixes it. The day he hired me, so we had our first session the next week. He had one employee, a shop full of woodworking equipment, and a van. The one employee quit an hour before I talked to him. So yeah, and he's telling me, he's like, my one guy just quit.
Oh man.
Okay, I've got a challenge here, because now I'm not dealing with a company, I'm dealing with one guy.
Right.
That started in October. He now has 5 employees, is off the road, and 2 trucks. And we did it that quick.
Right.
And he was small enough, so it's not really a huge bragging point. We've quadrupled his sales.
Do you ever deal with a guy that says, hey, I don't want to be off the road. I still like doing the work, but I do want to grow. Do you ever help them stay a technician and build a back office for them, or a manager of the business? Do you ever run into that situation?
I've had one, and still a client today. And what he calls it, he's a cherry picker. So now he just cherry picks the good things he wants to go on, but he's probably 80% in the office and 20% out to just tickle his fancy to get out there a little bit. But he had to do it. And he may be a guy that eventually will, he's a little older, so he'll probably eventually get a GM, retire, but then become a full technician for them like 2 days a week. So, but we still keep him at the real high view to look at the business. I mean, someone's got to do it. And when you're growing, it has to be you.
Yeah, I've a friend of mine who runs a small business. I had him on my podcast, and he just always wants to run a small business, has no interest in growing it. And he says, I really don't go on jobs anymore. I go visiting, and he just does it as like as he doesn't really need that. And again, one of the reasons I talked about building businesses for all the years I have is because my family built one-person operations for a very long time, and then something always happened to them. My mother got sick, my brother-in-law got hurt, and when these things happen, then all of a sudden there was no real business. And that's what I always was afraid of and it happened to me too. I had a one-man operation. I fell a long way off of a roof, and boom, I did not have a business, and I was out of work. And now what? So, that's, everybody's got to, again, do their own thing. But for me, what you just said about how to build a business, how to coach the people up, you can't motivate anybody. I can't motivate anybody, but you can give them tools to go, oh, that's the missing that's the missing link. And I think that probably is why you like doing this, is because you like seeing people win.
Well, it's managed, and you teach them to manage the systems and know the numbers. And believe it or not, culture comes from that. And so, you know, and I'm not afraid. I got a lot. I can't lie to you. When I first went to school to be a business coach at Syracuse, up in Syracuse, New York, and it was online classes, and then I got accepted. It doesn't matter, all that stuff. It was so much about culture, and being that I was, you know, a WDD 214 from the Army and the Marine Corps, my culture was pretty Army-istic, militaristic, Marine Corps-istic. It was, you know, I'm not going to say it was always friendly. It was pretty much do it or get the hell out.
Right.
You know, and when I kind of, I mean, really after I left the business back in 2014, I started to learn that Sergeant Carter is what they used to call me as a joke. Really probably wasn't the best way to grow my business. And it might have been a good thing I got out of my business at that time. You know,
in 2014, you pulled completely back. I think you said you hired a management team. And do you think you've grown a lot as a leader since you've actually pulled back?
Not even the same person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even the same person. Right. I mean, we had some pretty interesting things happen to us after I left. That, you know, type of things that you can't talk about that are pretty bad, and it kind of humbled me. And then we, as a management team, we stuck together and held on through everything, and just they have. When I left the business, we were only like at 2.8, and we're close to 5 million right now.
Nice.
So they've doubled the business, and we're advertising to our company. We will in 2022 for adding the fireplace side and the air ducts thing. We will be over 10 million.
Yeah,
and there's no doubt.
There's so much opportunity out there, and it's just wide open for everybody. And I don't care if you set up shop in Nashville or I set up shop in one of your towns. We never hurt each other. The competition isn't real. I always say, I mean, it's not my saying, but the competition is between the four walls of my business. Right. All the competition I'm ever going to have is inside our business that we've got to fix ourselves. Outside, yeah, they might get a job or two from us or whatever, but that's not really the game. So I'll end it on this. I know we've hit our 1 hour. We normally stop at about an hour. So let me ask you a final thing. And I think the main thing that a lot of people, the reason they don't want to build a business is because of the fear of failure. How often do you, I'm going to read this real quick before we do that. This is Mike Fazy. We both are fans of Mike Fazy. He goes, I wasn't looking for a coach, but met Chad at a convention a year ago and reluctantly got some coaching sessions. From personal experience, Chad brings tons of value as a business coach to any size business, especially if you're a chimney company. Thanks, Chad and Mark, for giving out some great info. And so, and then Jeremy Biswell said, so Mark's coming to Dallas.
Well, if that happens, Tennessee might be in my blood.
Yeah, he's coming to visit me in a couple of weeks. So.
I am.
Let's just end on the fear of failure, or even what you see as limiting factors for people. Because I'm going to guess the people are watching this, most of them want to learn. They want to probably grow a little bit, or at least run their businesses better. How big of a factor is failure in most people's brains? I don't have a very big following on my podcast, but I have one of my podcasts that has gone and had triple the amount of people listening to it. And I named it The Anxiety of an Entrepreneur. And during the height of COVID, I have goosebumps when I talk about this. During the height of COVID, all my clients with me, and as everyone else, we were all freaking out in May, right? Let's face it, March and May, we were all freaking out. And one day I was on the level of panic attack. I was pacing, freaking out. It was on a Friday. I had no clients that day. And I said, you know what? This is my opportunity. Get on that microphone and talk to that camera and tell everybody what I'm feeling and do it. And I did that totally raw, just let it out. And
And at the end of it, you'll hear me from when I started have this anxiety to solve my issue. And by the end of that podcast, I don't remember how I ended it, but I remember getting off going, I'm just taking the balls by the horn right now, and I'm just going to do it. And I'm not going to look back, and I'm not going to regret one damn thing I do. And I'm going to grow this business and make it through this COVID. And I'm going to help every damn one of my clients feel the same way. And I think some of these clients are on here right now that they'll say, we did it together, and we all just grabbed it by the throat and choked it and went through COVID, and here we are. I mean, everybody made it easily. I mean, the funny thing, Masters was probably did the worst during COVID out of all my other clients, just because we had a hot summer, and our first quarter last year stunk before COVID. So
yeah, so did ours. Ours was down a bit. Yeah, I think failure again is part of success, and I think this year with COVID, one of the biggest, as leaders, we all were struggling on what to do. Like, do we let everybody off? Do we keep them off? Do we go into people's houses? Do we not go into houses? Like, it was really the hardest on leadership. Plus, customers were getting crazy. Some of them didn't care. Some of them cared like you were going to come in and kill them. And as a leader, it just became very difficult. We all thought we were going to fail. And a lot of people, came through it. But I think now is the time to just push the pedal to the metal and go.
You know what, everyone? Mark's so right. If you're out there, if you have any struggle to you because it's springtime right now, just do what your instincts are. Follow the groups. Listen to this show. Do what you need to do. And I'm telling you, this industry is a booming. Be part of it.
Yeah. Well, Chad, so thankful you joined us. Thank you for doing a course on SureFire that's coming out about scripting. Thank you for the great the tips about Zingtree and call solutions. Gosh, just so valuable. And you brought so much value to this industry. Thank you for coming out of the shadows and being part of this and taking some of the arrows, the slings and arrows on social media sometimes that everybody has to think. So thanks again. I appreciate it.
All right.
So guys, Chad is a business coach. If you need business coaching, he takes on clients. It's outside the business box, and his name is Chad Murray. So look him up. And if you need coaching, he really knows this industry well. Well, that's another week in the books. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly appreciate all the conversations. Please share this, talk to people about it. We'd love to have this be a big industry talking and learning session. I think we all learn from each other. Go out there and do good work, keep people safe, and we'll see you next week.